want to take you through this. So let's see it. Now, most people basically say, so this is also fashion, by the way. You will come across a lot of individuals. So we have become, enslaved to google.com. And I don't mind Google. Google is a really, really productive technique, but you have to understand how to use it to your, optimum utility. So when I use Google, I Google for areas like this. So I would Google, what are the positive aspects of going and visiting a psychologist? What is the positive side of going through NLP? What are the benefits of NLP? What are the benefits of basically visiting a psychiatrist? So I attribute and select those key areas for Google, and I see the desired results. And then I can always go and have my choices and options. Whereas now, if I use Google to a different extent, it will give me also the same results. If I ask Google how psychology is damaging, it'll give you 10 results. How psychiatrists are unethical, it'll give you 25 results. If you see how NLP is not a science, you will get about maybe more 50 results. So there's a huge, dogma or a myth that is basically concepted. So when people graduate as NLP, they're asked, yaar ye NLP jo hai na ye NLP pseudoscience hai. And I was bombarded with those questions. NLP is pseudoscience. Well, NLP, I already stated that NLP is a set of sequence techniques. So first of all, for something to become a pseudoscience, it first has to be a science. So we're looking at NLP as an art. It's a technique. It's a methodology. It's something like, for example, mixed martial arts. If you've ever heard about mixed martial arts, it's a technology. Yoga is a technology because yoga is a system of techniques. NLP similarly is a system of techniques. Jiu-jitsu is a system of techniques. So, I personally didn't, I've done a lot of certifications on various different areas, but I'm a raving fan of NLP. And I'm a raving fan of NLP even because I studied NLP to understand the art. I didn't get into NLP to study the science of NLP. I got into NLP in terms of understanding the techniques and how do they apply it to the mind sciences and what are the applications. So most people, ask Arslan, what is the credibility of NLP? The credibility of NLP is basically goes way back. It goes back to 1933 in the journal Semantics, the book that was basically, produced, and that was the basic foundation that was laid forward for it. But what are the things that we adapted? So if there was some scientific study, we took that scientific study and we incorporated it into the NLP. Virginia Satir was the world's leading, and I'm not only saying just leading, Virginia Satir was the world's leading family therapist. Now, she was having amazing results, and John Grinder and Bandler modeled her and created the technique, basically the meta model, which leads the foundation of coaching, how to ask questions and create breakthroughs for your clients. So that's a fabulous one. Then they modeled also Milton Erickson. Now, Dr. Milton Erickson was an authority, a world leading psychotherapist and also hypnotherapist. So this guy basically gave the birth to the hypnotherapy and made a major contribution in the field of hypnotherapy. And from modeling him, they learned the Milton model. And all Fritz, Virginia, or Milton in their biography really appreciated the modeling technology of NLP, and they wrote in favor of it. So it does have a very strong, solid foundation. Again, many other contributors, very similar ones that you might have also heard. Twitmeyer, for example, the person, if you've ever heard stories of somebody who used to hammer the knee and the knee would bounce up. So yeah, anchoring. If you understand, basically anchoring, and not only anchoring, but the semantics of conditions and stimuli and response, SR response. These were also laid down by Twitmeyer and Pavlov. So these are two very big contributors. We basically studied them as well. And my personal favorite, Dr. Adriana James and Dr. Ted James. So amazing guys. And Dr. Ted James also holds the credentials of, basic founder of the Timeline Therapy Association. So he has done, he spent his lifetime, 3 decades researching. So it's it is a well-researched, set of techniques and tools, and they are available. If you should want to contact the American Board of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, they are available with Ted James and Adriana James. And that's what we basically present in our manuals as well. with the references, with the authentications, and with the same other contributors, Robert Dills, many others. So I wouldn't say into that. So again, is psychology a science? Yes, sure. It has scientific techniques, and some of them are still also art. So there are certain areas in psychology as well which do serve as pseudoscience. But NLP itself is just a technology, right? We want to understand it in that context. It's a technology for modeling to basically create excellence, and it did adapt a lot of work from therapy itself.